Wait, can you guys see the screen? Oh,
Yes.
okay. It's a Google Doc screen, right? Okay.
Yeah, Google Doc screen.
Okay. Our group think that they will require lesser reports since users have full control over the design and content of report. So this reduces the amount of experimentation and failures with the type of report a user wants. Also, they didn't have to go through like third-party support with the IT staff, and this can cause some communication errors. And we have listed several pros. So users have full flexibility in deciding what kind of report they want. And it also removes communication overhead with IT staff because they have like full program control from user input only. This reduces human error and result a faster process in generating reports. As a result, this increases efficiency in the department that need this kind of reports. And also those IT staff doesn't have to spend time helping those users in generating a report. So this approach can reduce significant numbers of unnecessary reports. So few of the cons are users also are more likely to have like privileged access to companies' data. This might cause some security concerns over internal data breach if there's lesser or no justification required when data are accessed. And also, when users use the program, they might not have all the data they initially needed. So like when designing a report, they might not think certain data are required, but they realize later that they need it after it's already printed. So this could lead to more wasteful report being generated. And also the system might take time to design or build as it needs to be a really powerful user input, fully controlled program. So developer need to make sure like it have a good UI UX design, it's easy to use, and also all the data need to be like integrate, need to have high integrity, make sure like it's correct, and also it needs to satisfy all the type of the users. Yeah, that's all we have.
Okay, thank you. Right. So let's move on to the next team of the same case 6.3 Melin and the team Melin and the team.
Can you hear me, Ajahn?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, so the first question is, do you think the user would request as many reports or the same types of reports? So we think that they would request as many reports because since we have like a large number of users and many users might have like a different techniques and style of understanding the reports. So the user might not like agree on or compromise to having one type of report. Plus, the one who requests the report is not, probably not thinking about who is responsible for the reading of the report. So it might perhaps take time more to agree on single type report. The next question is that what are some pros and cons of giving users a total control over output? So the first pro that we see is that it probably allows the user to creatively design a report to their own liking. And secondly is that it's create more variety of reports, which companies can choose one of these reports to be their own standard report in the future. And thirdly, it allows the user to choose the specific data that they would like to utilize in the report so that there is a reduction in waste and also optimizing workflow as a whole. And lastly, it might help reduce the cost of hiring IT staff due to the fact that they are not required to assist the user in the creation of the report. Some disadvantages that we see is that with given user all the full control over the output, the request will be like out of place, non-organized, many unnecessary requests, and they will be out of format as well. So these can lead to like difficult to understand and know that each user is trying to convey a request. That is why we have to create a standard report in order for the request to be easily understandable. And this might be additional expense as well if the user requests or wish to hire the specialist or want to have additional tools that might facilitate the users. And that's all we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right. So right now, we finished 3 presentation from case study 6.3 alreadyนะครับ. Let's move on to case 6.2 นะครับ. The first team for 6.2 is Tantita and the team นะครับ.
Dogs, sporting goods, sale, hiking, and camping supplies. The company had got considerably in the last 2 years. Dog, the company founder and president, want to develop a customer order entry system and hire your IT consulting firm to advise him about software alternative. Dog is leaning toward in-house development because he does not want to depend on outside vendor and supplier for technical support and upgrade. Dog also said that he is not interested in selling on the web, but that could change in the future. Dog want to meet you tomorrow to make a decision. What will you say to Dog at the meeting? We will make a presentation to Dog about software development options. There are 2 in-house software development options, that is to developing software in-house or purchasing a software package. For in-house software development, the advantages are it is easier to customize the software to satisfy business needs. As he said that he is not interested in selling on the web, but it could change in the future. Therefore, we might have to customize the software. And you get total control over the development. If we're building software by ourselves, the software feature might be unique, and the software uniqueness will maintain the company growth in the future. The disadvantages are it requires skilled technical development staff and development and maintenance, and the development has constraint of the system and technology. The development process takes more time and more cost. For purchasing a software package, the advantages are lower cost and less time to implement. Also require less staff than in-house development. The software has reliability and performance as proven by vendor other client. The software feature upgrades and maintenance are provided by the vendor. The disadvantages are the function of a software is made by software provider, so it is harder to customize the software if he wants to, and it may cause bad reputation to the company if the problem occur in a software that he got no control over. Thank you.
Okay, thank you ทันทิตา and the team นะครับ. So let's move on to the next team, James and the team ครับ.
Can you see the screen?
Not yet, Pai.
Hello?
Hello, not yet. We still see
Not
the
yet?
screen.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, just start sharing again. I see just the home screen. Okay, yeah.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah. I see the case duck sporting goods.
Okay. Okay. So Doug had suggested that he wanted no web-based system, but at the same time, he's leaning towards an in-house development option. But maybe we were thinking he could use sort of an alternative view. So we were thinking that the web-based system could actually go hand in hand with his idea of the in-house sales, since the in-house development, since that development of an online system by an in-house team can tailor to the company's specific needs, conforming to the company's culture. So this happens to be one of the benefits of in-house development. Although the prices of in-house development may be fairly high, the resulting inefficiency cannot be paralleled, meaning that due to the nature of in-house development, there's more face-to-face communication with the company, which can produce not only accurate but faster results, since it's easier for everyone to come to an understanding. And certain disagreements are also able to come to light much faster and easier. If the company needed to make some changes, they can do so easier, since the in-house team not only knows what the company needs, but also they have access to the code and they can change it efficiently. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell Doug to reconsider his stance on internet-based sales, because it comes with many benefits and opportunities for him to expand on his business, including expanding his customer base, the ability to process sale when the store is closed, and also the ability to showcase a wider range of products. And it may be difficult to set up and implement, but he should capitalize on the fact that he's about to develop a customer order system, which is could work together with online sales platforms to improve his ability to conduct sales. If he were to choose in-house development, then he would have greater control over what's happening, so that he could have the system connect to an online platform if he were to allow it. Furthermore, in-house development would mean that his IT team would know how to modify the order system if needed, ensuring that linking of both online and order systems should be simpler than if we were to use outsourced designed order system, because his own IT team, as we've explained before, they've seen the code, they've written the code, so they can change it easily. Another benefit of online-based sales is that maybe we can reach potential new clients, say, for example, in another country. And since the era right now is all about communication on online platforms, it's expected that people will find out more about his business online. And that's how they can expand internationally. And so the more locations he has, the more he can distribute the goods more efficiently. And that's all we have.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Pai. Okay, now let's move on to the next team. We move on to case 6.1. Case 6.1. Start with Atiwat and the team first.
So just share screen, right?
Yes.
Give me a second. Just a few seconds. Okay. Okay. Is the screen on?
Yes, but it's like very big.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So For our group, for case 6.1 turnkey service, basically we are a finance company or just company dealing with financial services, and we are considering more expansion into accounting and other further financial services. So we are looking for the possibility of hiring IT subcontractors in foreign countries, basically offshoring our business operations to other countries. And so our manager wanted to have us to list out the benefits or the advantage and the disadvantage of the offshoring and outsourcing. And yeah, so at first, starting with the introduction for offshore outsourcing, what it basically is we are having the companies in foreign countries or in parts of the on other parts of the country that is not within our own business domains, but we hire them to do some business operations for us instead. And the main reason that we do this is usually the lower costs. That is usually the main reason, but we'll be exploring the pro and cons of that in a moment. So for the pros of outsourcing and offshoring, the first one is obviously the massive financial savings. Basically, whenever companies offshore to other countries, no, offshore to other companies, they usually do it because it saves them money. A lot of times they also offshore to companies in a country where the wages are very low. For example, countries in the US offshore their production line to China or India, where the money that they have to spend is going to be very low. And so they can achieve a lot of financial saving in this way. And since we are financial business, then basically we can have the people in the offshore companies do some accounting services and do some manual work for us, or something similar for a very low amount of money that we have to spend. We can also save on investing in software technology and infrastructure. That means that if the work that we are offshoring other companies to do is not something that we already invested in, for example, for accounting, then we might have to buy the books, we may have to buy the software related to accounting and this type of things. So basically, we have to invest in the infrastructure before we can actually have our own employees do it. But if we outsource, then those outsourced companies, they already have the software and all the equipment that they are ready to do the work for us. So we don't need to pay an extra to these, basically the item requirements or the equipment that we need to achieve this task, because the offshore companies should already have it. We also have things like the rapid delivery time, tremendous focus on chief sectors, and acquiring robust facility. But basically, all three of these came down to the fact that when we are offshoring a specific task, we can choose to offshore to a company that specializes in those tasks. So because those companies specialize in a certain task, for example, in accounting, then they have a team dedicated to accounting. They have their own professionals and people skill in those ways. So because they have this competent experienced team, it can reduce the time of completion. They can have more time to complete. Our company can have more time to concentrate on our tasks or the core tasks that our company is doing. And the other company that we offshore to can also have some versatility because that is what they're specialized in. So we see that's also one advantage of offshoring. And in addition, we also have the lowering of the risk because offshoring companies are solely held accountable for their entire operations. So basically, when we outsource to other companies, we can also ensure the standardized service because given that the company that we offshore to basically all have the business operations revolve around offshore, doing offshore business for other companies, then we can ensure that they have standards that that they can get the work done on time, and also that their work are also held accountable. So basically, if they fail those operations, then not a lot of business is going to come to their business and use the service again. So usually they would have high incentive to complete the task and to be very competent in what they do. So that doesn't go for every company we offshore to, obviously, but that would also be a point that if we choose the right company, then it can be very reliable for us. But now we can come to the cons of outsourcing as well.
Yes, for cons of outsourcing and offshoring first, since outsourcing has to do with across the country business, it cannot be avoided that communication sometimes can be misunderstood from both outsourcers company and offshoring country. Secondly, sometimes our expected outcome might be shifted as there might be some trade-off of offshoring, and this leads producers positions of delivery to usually come with taking more time to deliver a product, as well as a longer duration of support, because we might need a team that knows the background of the product specifically, and sometimes offshoring could be troubling from information being leaked by others. This nature of offshoring has a chance of both uh, reducing GDP of outsourced countries and increasing unemployment rate of a certain amount of jobs simultaneously. Moreover, as a result, some countries do not allow domestic businesses to have an outsourcing option to consider, causing some other effects on those companies indirectly. Following this, offshoring could even lead to massively in-country issues such as geopolitical risks like international relations conflicts and destabilization of the country that will resonate our company accordingly. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you. ครับ
โอเคครับ thank you for อธิวัฒน์ and the team นะครับ now let's move on to the last team นะครับ that is from Gritins ครับ and the team.
All right, so basically ours, it's the same brief as the previous group presented. So let's look at the pros and cons. They will be sort of similar. So first, we get to lower our expenses in regards to manpower, since we can get to choose where we want to source our talents from. If we want cheap software, let's go to India, or let's just go to China. If we want a bit more quality, then there are a lot of specialized services around the world that you could go to. There's also the pros of modularization, because in this case, the company is contracting multiple foreign countries from multiple foreign countries, right? So therefore, it requires a very detailed analysis and design phase, which could facilitate, it is needed to facilitate multiple developer teams from around the world working together, and thus you can't just have a shoddy design. Therefore, it could potentially result in a better system in the end. And there's also the new perspective which you can gain from people who are non-local, who are from other countries, because their perspective on software may be different, and they could perhaps add more value to the current project. There's also the ability to scale resources quickly, because as like what was said before, since it's pretty cheap, right? You can just hire more if you want more developer, or if you want to scale the software to a larger and more complex system. Okay, let's look at the cons now. Please go down. Okay, so there are going to be kind of a lot of cons in the area in which it brings a lot of complexity in regards to training. First, most of the team where you're outsourcing to, multiple teams in this case, they don't have the same background. You have to train them to use your software stack and also use your company's desired cloud solution in this case, or programming languages. Not all team will have the preparation that are similar to each other. And there's also the lack of company knowledge and security concern because you're an accounting and financial company, right? You're dealing with a lot of sensitive information. Money matters. So if you're going to disclose these information or your accounting process to the development firms, it could cause legal complications if should they exploit it in whatever unscrupulous way that may be. And there's also the delayed support because the time frame between your country and all the different subcontractors are different. So you're going to have to hire more people to handle the coordination between these countries. You can't just rely on the fact that in-house developer could just work on the same location 8 to 6 and then go home. You have to be active 24 hours in this case. And there's also the diminished project control because they're not present, they're not working at your firm. So therefore, most of the risk would be outsourced. But the outsourcing of these risks would also mean that the developers don't feel liable for the project that they're working on. It's the company they're working for that they feel liable. Thus, let's say if you work for a bank and you did something wrong, they could fire you. But if you're working for this contractor firm, the contractor firm in this case would take the blame, not you specifically. So you don't have this personal connection to the project, which could result in more determination or more concerns for quality. And a little down, can you move down, please? There's also, yeah, and then aside from that, there's also the lack of company, the complexity of training and the lack of company knowledge. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think this works.
Hello, is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the last team for your presentation. So you can see that you just like when you present this case study, it seems like you just come into just like give like very good ideas of just expressing your ideas about like this kind of just like development strategies. I'm sure that most of you, or all of, actually not most of you, all of you in this class if you finish this subject already, and in the future if you have to just like start your work as being the system analyst, you should just like do your job very well. Also not just system analysts but also the consultants as well. In terms of coding, I don't know, because I mean in this class we don't have any coding task. But I mean, like in terms of criticizing and giving the ideas of just like this kind of like system analysis and design task, you just like do very good job. Indeed, I appreciate for all of your presentation. Okay, so before we finish the class today, let me just like introduce you for the next module a bit, because I mean like we still have like 20 minutes more. So I'm going to talk about like the module number 7, that is design, the user interface design. Okay, let me just like show your the screen for you first. Just won't be long. Okay, so the handout is in Canvas already. If you just like want to download the Canvas from Canvas, you can do it now. Okay, so let me just like talk about the module number 7, that is user interface design. So in this module, the user interface design, I'm going to talk about the concept of user interface design as well as the HCI, or human computer interaction, that we have to know whenever we have to design the user interface for our information system, including the basic principles of user-centered design. So I'll also talk about the guidelines for user interface design, and talk about the components in user interface นะครับ including screen elements and controls นะครับ After that, we'll talk about the issues in output design and the technology issues นะครับ Then we'll talk about the design of the effective source document นะครับ including input design and technologies issues นะครับ. Then we talk about guidelines for data entry screen design because I mean like whenever we have the screen นะครับ one thing that we want to get from the users is the effective information นะครับ. That must be just like enter the data correctly, precisely and accurately นะครับ by using just like as little time as they can นะครับ. We will talk about the input masking and validation rules that we use in order to reduce the input errors นะครับ. So apart from just like using some other tools to help, for example, you may use like RFID scanner, you may have just like barcode, QR code, but some of the inputs still need to have the data entry from users anyway. It might be like the handwriting, it might be just like data entry by using keyboards นะครับ or even you can see that right now many of the gadgets including the mobile phone or smartphone right now when the users have to unlock the phones นะครับ we don't I mean instead of using the pin code you may have to use like the what to say biometrics นะครับ for example the fingerprint you can see that the smartphone in previous generation like let's say last year or 2 years ago when people had to just like scan their fingerprints they scan on the scanner directly นะครับ on the mobile phone but right now you can see that because they want to streamline the design of the smartphone they hide the sensor underneath the screen so that means you don't see the position of the scanner anymore but the users has to estimate the position of the fingerprint scanners to scan so the accuracy is like when you compare with the previous generation the current generation of the fingerprint scanner is just like must be more precise because it's possible that the users can just like scan in any position on the lower part of the screen in order to unlock นะครับ if your scanner position is not precise enough นะครับ or is not quick response enough it will take a lot of time for the users in order to unlock that screen นะครับ this is the things that we have to know in order to reduce the input errors นะครับ apart from just like data entry by using keyboards and mouse นะครับ and then we'll talk about the output and input controls and security นะครับ for this module as well นะครับ let's just like begin with the first part that is the phase description นะครับ in this phase นะครับ after we move from the analysis phase now is the design phase that we have to focusing in input output design นะครับ system design this is the third of the 5 phase of the system development life cycle นะครับ because after we finish this phase already is the phase for the programmers in order to develop นะครับ the software and the last phase is the maintenance phase already now you will work on a physical design นะครับ that will meet specification described in system requirement document so that means in the analysis phase นะครับ we need to just like prepare นะครับ the logical design นะครับ and when we come to the design phase here now we have to work on the physical design already so that means this one you have to design carefully because it just like meet the requirement of the users also it will be understandable by the programmers as well so that they can just like tune in order to have the system to match with what users need and what the system can serve them นะครับ tasks in this phase include user interface design, data design, and system architecture นะครับ and at the end of this phase the deliverable of this phase is system design spec นะครับ so that when we get a system design specs or system design specification document นะครับ the programmers will understand what do they have to do what do they have to code and develop according to the system design spec นะครับ so in this part นะครับ the user interface design is the first task in the system design phase นะครับ in system development life cycle. Designing the interface is really important because everyone wants a system that is easy to learn and use. That means in the past นะครับ when we didn't have the effective interface design, the problem was that the system analysts นะครับ had to heavily focus on user's manual นะครับ and if user's manual is not effective, users don't understand how to use the system correctly นะครับ and if you do it too good นะครับ the problem is that it will be very thick and the users do not read it นะครับ that is the problem because you can see that okay when we talk about the smartphone right now, once you unbox it, you can see that at most you have a quick start guide, a very thin document, or let me just see the mobile phone that I bought a couple of months ago. There is no manual นะครับ there is no manual because if you want to read the manual, hang on, let me just have a look a bit. Oh yeah, they have not much for the manual that they have. Okay, let me just have a look. It's just a quick start นะครับ the quick start guide only, just very thin. But I remember that the smartphone that I bought นะครับ more than 20 years ago, at that time the package, the box was very big, and then I had to just like I saw a very big manual, very thick manual, and when I asked other people, no one read that manual at all because I mean like it's too thick and it explained so many details นะครับ so that's why people just like didn't read it. So when they have to just like develop the user interface design in this generation, you can see that it's easy that you can use your intuition in order to know how to use or how to interact with that device นะครับ or with that system. So it must be learnable นะครับ and the learning curve must be very high when you design the user interface for the users to just like use this kind of system or information system that we have นะครับ when we talk about the word the terms user interface นะครับ user interface or UI นะครับ it's not just the screen design นะครับ but user interface consists of hardware, software, screen, menu, functions, output, and features that affect the two-way communications between the users and the computer. So that means นะครับ for the user's interface, you can see that if we are talking about mobile phone, okay, smartphone is the easiest example for the good UI design. Once you tap นะครับ once you tap on some buttons นะครับ sometimes you might have like the haptic reaction, like it's shaking, something like that, so that or vibrating, so you know that you touch on like some buttons already. Or sometimes when you press on some buttons, for example, if you want to make a phone call to someone, once you press on the button, the speaker will just like play the sounds of that tone นะครับ once you press the button as well, so that you know you already press that number already นะครับ. So this is the example for the combination of hardware together with the software and screens นะครับ so it will affect นะครับ the users, because users will realize that they do something or they have like something to interact with the system นะครับ okay, so when you have to do the user interface design นะครับ let's talk about the evolution of the user interface a bit นะครับ so the first one นะครับ we started from process control. In the past, when people design for the user's interface, that was heavily rely on the process control, because once you press some buttons on the screen or click or press enter on the keyboard or press some buttons on the keyboard, because you want to control the process inside that information system นะครับ As the information management evolved from centralized data processing to dynamic enterprise-wide system นะครับ when the time goes by นะครับ the primary focus also shifted นะครับ because in the past นะครับ the IT department designed the system according to their needs นะครับ but right now it's the users themselves some of the systems นะครับ users can customize the screen can customize the button according to the, what they need นะครับ so right now from process control it has been shifted to user-centered system นะครับ but anyway when we have to design the user interface to be the user-centered system นะครับ you have to understand the human center or human computer interaction and user-centered design principles too นะครับ actually for the human computer interaction or UI UX UI design we have the principles นะครับ you just like don't do anything randomly or anything what you like นะครับ because when you have to design this kind of thing the users have to just like I mean like apart from the users like it you may have to think of the ergonomic design as well for example when we talk about let's say when we talk about the dashboard of the car นะครับ that is a good example for user interface design as well one thing that you have to see is that the entertainment normally นะครับ the entertainment system right now if you would like to control the entertainment system it is on the middle part of the dashboard นะครับ it's in the middle part of the dashboard you can see that they don't shift in the past everything if you would like to control the media นะครับ or the music or radio everything was controlled behind the steering wheel and the problem was that if you have a passenger who sit on the right left hand side or on the right hand side of the driver นะครับ if they would like to change the music station in the past it was difficult for them because they couldn't see it so that's why they just like shift into the center part of the dashboard นะครับ so that apart from the driver can see the passenger can see and can change as well นะครับ while some of the information for example the car information the speedometer the gas tank level นะครับ or the car tires นะครับ meter these information some of them might be hidden while you are driving but if you would like to see it you can control by using the buttons on the steering wheels why don't it just like show in the middle part of the console นะครับ or the center of the car the reason is because the driver will be the one who see it not the passenger so that's why they don't shift this kind of control in the middle of the dashboard นะครับ okay so on the next class I will talk about like the more details of the user interface design นะครับ and the human computer interactions principles that you have to know so that you can just like have used these ideas to design your system the user's interface for the information systems นะครับ for your users later on นะครับ okay up to this point do you have any questions okay so if you don't have any questions นะครับ do we have anyone who haven't or do we have any group who haven't submitted the case study okay if no that means every team every group submitted already that's good so that I don't need to extend the time for you if you submitted already นะครับ okay so everyone before we finish the class นะครับ could you please turn on your camera so that I can capture the screen นะครับ oh sure you have many friends with you okay okay anybody else who hasn't turned on the camera Luis and พรกมลครับ please turn on your camera ปรมัตถ์พิษ please turn on your camera กริตตินครับกริตตินโอเค Okay then everyone I'm done already ปริวัติครับ I haven't seen you yet ปริวัติ just won't be long ปริวัติ Okay Okay ครับ everyone so that's all for today นะครับ so you take care and stay safe นะครับ we'll meet each other again on this coming Thursday นะครับ have a nice day everyone บ๊ายบายนะครับ take care บ๊ายบาย have a nice
Thank
day
you.
you're welcome ครับบ๊ายบาย Philip are you in the bed seems like some of you are still in the bed anyway bye bye